Hey, what's going on, everyone?
Yo.
This is Marcus and Eddie. Eddie and Marcus.
Let's go.
We're the Average Sports Guys. This is episode 59.
59.
Yeah, so we missed last week. Had a lot going on.
Yep.
We wanted to get in a Super Bowl episode. We were going to break down all the eats, all the drinks, all the festivities, what we thought about commercials, halftime shows, etc. But life happens.
Right.
And there's some things that are just more important than that.
Yep.
Having said that, Marcus and I watched the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And let's just get into the score. So the Buccaneers beat the Kansas City Chiefs 31-9. It was a
shellacking.
It was a shellacking. Man, what
for me, I think what was the most disappointing, just overall, before we get into too deep into the details, was the lack of adjustments on the Chiefs side of the ball. I want to say they didn't try, but at the end of the day, when you lose both your starting tackles on offense, there's not much you can do, and especially if they're facing a front four that is top 5 in the league, if you ask me.
Bro, they were able to rush with 4. Do you know, effectively rushing with 4, you could drop everybody else back in coverage.
Right.
And you keep a spy on Pat.
Yep.
To make sure he's not going to run free.
Right.
And that's essentially what they did. They were able to force him to bounce out straight to the sideline to pick up minimal gains. Now, he was able to pick up a couple first downs.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. He's going to make plays. But that was textbook rushing with 4. They blitzed a couple times, but to get home with 4. It's like you said, they're down 2 starting offensive linemen. You're going to feel that.
Oh, for sure.
They were in his face early and often, disrupted his timing, hurried him up. It just
poor Pat, man.
Yeah, I was hoping he would have repeated.
For sure.
Because he would have been the first quarterback since 2004. It was Tom Brady. To win back to back. So and it's crazy how everybody just says next year. Getting to the Super Bowl is just the easiest thing on earth.
It's hard because you have contracts to manage. You have people wanting to leave and as far as coaching and seek other opportunities and grow and things like that. It's
injuries.
Hard. Injuries. It's hard to maintain, especially in the NFL football league with a hard cap and everything. It's hard to retain people. So.
Yeah. Overall, I thought the Super Bowl was a dud.
It was a dud, and For me, another point that bugged the crap out of me. Let's just get into it. The first half with these refs, man, I can't remember another Super Bowl.
You're killing me, man.
Right, I don't remember a Super Bowl where the refs were really that involved.
Yeah,
crazy. That's what everybody was tweeting about. Literally, ex-players, fans, coaches, you name it. They were tweeting. They're like, what is this?
It's crazy because we were sitting there and I looked at you. I'm like, man, that was suspect. And then I was like, okay, maybe whatever. They'll settle down. Nope, through another flight. Then I'm just like, okay, the fix is in.
Right.
I think you said it first. You the fix is in.
The fix is in.
Then I started getting texts from people. They was like, are you seeing this? And I was like, man, listen. I was like, this is going to be a long day. This Super Bowl was just as boring to me as the Broncos-Seahawks one.
Broncos-Seahawks or even the Rams one.
Oh, that was boring.
That was super boring.
That was boring.
So... You know it's bad when you sit there and there's a game-changing play like an interception, and then not even a half a second later, you see yellow coming out the woodwork, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding me, dude.
Yeah, it was terrible. Those pass interference calls that they called on the Chiefs, two of those that were blatantly pushing off by Evans.
Yep.
I'm like, come on. It was terrible. Now, somebody must have got in the ref's cheeks because it seems like the second half they kind of relaxed, but I kind of think the damage was done at that point.
For sure.
Yeah, again, like you and I were talking about during the game, and even before we started recording, it's like you can't draw. I mean, you just saw uncharacteristic things from the Chiefs. Like Tyreek Hill dropped that ball in the end zone. Travis Kelce, he had a drive killing incomplete pass. Like it was in his hands and just dropped. And there was other missed opportunities
for sure.
So it just, I think part of it too, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of us had so much hype put on this Super Bowl for many reasons. Right. There's the Brady aspect. Is he going to get a 7th ring? Yep. There's the Patrick Mahomes aspect of, is he going to be the first to go back-to-back Super Bowls since 2004, Tom Brady? Right. There's the GOAT versus baby GOAT and all that other stupid crap. I hated the GOAT, baby GOAT thing. But anyway, I'm just a pessimist. But so, and then two, I mean, Kansas City's offense is just deadly, right?
It is.
And so is the Buccaneers, especially as of late. Like the last 5 weeks of the season, Tampa Bay has just come alive, and their defense was just shut down.
Know what I mean?
They were just shutting people down.
I was just about to say that. I think the MVP of that Super Bowl was the Bucs defense.
Hell yeah.
Like, shout out to that middle linebacker, White.
Oh,
that dude got busy.
Yes, but watching him all year, right? Just like whenever they were on like primetime games or whatever, and it's like you just watch this dude and you're just like, he's nasty.
This dude is like almost 300 pounds worth of muscle, and he's running down running backs.
Yeah.
It was like he ran down Clyde Edwards-Helaire and killed him. I'm like, oh no.
But and then on top of that, like he's irritating to me to listen to, right? Because he's not on my team, but I can respect like Buccaneers fans, right? They probably love the dude,
for sure,
because it's just like it's just his demeanor, like
absolutely.
But that's what you want, because I'm sure there's people who are like sick of hearing Chase Young talk, right?
Right.
But for me, I'm like, hey, the kid could talk all day.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing.
You want your defensive players to have a screw loose. Speaking of screws loose, Tyrann Mathieu, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Bruh.
I almost forgot about that.
Like, dude just kept jawing at Brady. And I said this to my girlfriend's dad the other day, and I was like, look, man, you can jaw at Brady when you're touching him, because that's one of those things that most quarterbacks don't like, but especially Tom Brady if he's getting hit.
Yeah.
But if you're not getting to him, if you're not getting home, all you're going to do is make it worse on your secondary, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure that they were mic'd up somewhere.
For sure.
It's been a crazy week for me. For work, just been super busy,
right.
So I haven't had time to like try to pull the audio. But you just see him running after him, like pointing in his face, and then Tom Brady's like jawing at him and all that stuff. But I think honestly, next year I do feel like teams are going to be able to start getting to Brady. Mm-hmm. But yeah, overall, shout out to Tom Brady, right? I've made it very clear that I effing hate the dude. Clearly, I don't know him personally, so I don't truly hate him. But I just think the tables turn on the good ones, right? Everybody was tired of the Patriots dynasty. He goes to the Buccaneers, and everybody's like, I think we kind of both picked them to like early in the season.
Right.
And we reevaluated our picks, and we kind of switched to Green Bay, or at least I know I did. Because I would say 5-6 weeks in, they just weren't looking like they were about to be a Super Bowl team.
They really weren't. A lot of things weren't clicking. Like Fournette had stone hands up until the last 4 to 6 weeks of the season, including the Super Bowl. I'm like, this dude, like I said the other day, like this dude went to Walmart, found some hands, and been cooking ever since.
Yeah.
So they just got hot at the right time. We say it every year. Like there's just certain teams that can get hot at the right time, and that's exactly what the Bucs did.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. Look at it in different sports, right? The Capitals a couple years ago when they won the Stanley Cup.
Oh yeah,
it's just puck luck, right? It's just like everything bounced your way. Same thing with the Nationals the following year. We were 19-31 and turned everything around and ended up winning a World Series. So yeah, for sure. There are the good teams, the great teams, a la Kansas City. You don't accidentally get to the Super Bowl twice in a row.
Right.
And they had a chance to basically go 3 times in a row if old boy didn't line up off sides in the AFC Championship game
Don't remember.
Brady's last year that he was with Tampa Bay.
The Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, the Patriots.
Yeah, and then the interception that got called back in the end zone that they flipped. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
So it was a couple of things, but yeah, they definitely could have, like you said, won 3 times in a row. So
yeah, so there's teams like that, that are always going to constantly make a run. But I mean, think about the year that you guys won, right? Not saying you guys were out of it. You guys were 13-3 that year. Mm-hmm. So I mean, you guys had a heck of a year. But when Wentz went out, nobody knew what Foles was going to be able to do.
Yeah.
But he played within the system. Yep. Everything went your guys' way, and you guys were able to get to the Super Bowl and beat the Patriots. So
there we go.
But yeah, so like I said, I'm just tired of seeing Brady there. But I mean, listen, seven rings. He himself has more rings than any other organization as a whole. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Can't refute the GOAT conversation.
No, for sure. Now, I saw some people say he's the greatest athlete of all time. I say cool your heels.
Relax, dude.
Yeah, I would say the greatest winner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But definitely not the greatest athlete.
Stop it.
No.
Cut it out.
There are linemen that are more athletic than
he
Tom
is.
Brady.
Right.
So I would stop at that. But yeah, I think he's clearly the greatest quarterback we've seen.
Oh, for sure.
Ever. Most decorated, for sure.
Absolutely.
So, you gave him his props for sure. I don't take anything away from him. It was cool to see Gronk got 2 touchdowns.
He did. He definitely did. Shout out to him for his comeback because, he was like, when he retired the first time, like, dude was banged up. Like, yeah, you could tell even in the interviews after the fact, this dude was 100% like, there's no way in hell I'm coming back. Because, it was the whole conversation around, he was getting sick and tired of, yes, he's big and strong and everything, but everybody was attacking his knees. Knees.
Yeah, they would lighten him up.
It was lighting this man up, and he just couldn't take it anymore. And then homeboy goes to Tampa Bay, and he's like, yeah, I might want to hang out with you out there. I lost some weight. I can catch some passes. And the rest is history. So
yep. So that completely puts a bow on the 2020 season.
Yeah.
Again, the Buccaneers win 31-9 over the Kansas City Chiefs. Did you see any of that their little boat parade stuff today?
Oh, where he threw the Lombardi truck
from one boat to the next. And Gronk being Gronk, he's just a big ass kid.
Oh, for sure, partying it up, man.
Yeah, man. But I mean, they were out there having a good time. Hopefully, everybody stays safe. I feel like we're gonna get a new COVID variant, the Tampa Bay variant. It's on the way.
Oh, for sure.
It's on the way. I thought it was pretty cool. They had 7,500 fully vaccinated frontline workers that were able to attend, and like each team around the league got to pick like 4,
which is great.
4 people. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the halftime show. So I personally thought it effing sucked. I know you didn't have quite that strong of an opinion.
It was all right. It wasn't like Adam Levine level bad, but it was. They did what they could. I mean, there's rumors out there. I don't know if it's truth or not. Allegedly, that The Weeknd actually put up like $7 million of his own money to even make it even a better show than what it was going to be.
Yeah. I did hear that he put up some money.
I mean, there's that, and then they had me until the dude showed up with it looked like they had draws on their face.
Oh, jock straps.
The jock straps. I was just like, you know what? You lost me. I don't know what to tell you, fam. You getting a little weird on me. And then the dude was fighting with the cameraman in the mirror room, and I was like, all right. So
didn't that look like a Puff Daddy and Mace video?
It definitely looked like a Puff Daddy and Mace video.
I was like, what is this?
More money, more problems. I said, let's go. But then it just got weird. Like it just turned into a whole like how I look at a pot pie or some nachos or some cheese dip in the microwave,
yeah.
And the joint just spinning,
yeah.
And I'm cheesing. That's exactly what it looked like. So, it wasn't the best halftime show, but it definitely could have been better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I punted on the commercials. Those were terrible.
Oh, awful.
And I mean, there was a lot of companies that chose to not, dump a bunch of money into a bunch of Super Bowl commercials this year.
Right.
Budweiser being one of them. I think they were pretty much allocating funds to like the COVID vaccination, like education stuff and things like that. So commercials were down. The game itself was not really entertaining. And then the halftime show for me was just a bit weird and creepy.
Right.
I think the highlight of the Super Bowl was old boy that went streaking down the field. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah. And apparently he put a bet up for like if there was a streaker, and he bet on himself, and he actually did it.
Yeah, so it was like $1,000 to get himself out of jail, but he won $374,000.
Right, so it's like, I'll take that all day.
Right,
more than $250,000. I'll take that.
Yeah, but what was weird is when they like he was juking everybody on the field,
for sure.
But then when the dude tackled him at the goal line because he slid, I was first of all thinking like unnecessary roughness, hit to the head, and then the dude like flew in late, right? So then here's another flag for a late hit. But he dove right into the man's cheeks. I was like, what are we doing? It was just
that requires an investigation.
Yeah, I was like, man, the Super Bowl's supposed to be a family show. I said, what's going on? What's going on? I sent the kids to bed. No. Yeah, so
for sure.
So that was I think that was my highlight. And
absolutely.
Yeah, hopefully next year is better.
Right.
To me, so the last thing I'll say is, even if Kansas City put up a hell of a game and then lost, say it's by 3 or 7, or like it was intense towards the end, I think that would have been better. But like I said, the game was over early.
One more thing. So there's a reason why I'm wearing my Morgan State hoodie. You know, it's February, Black History Month. Mm-hmm. Shout out to AB for being the first black, or one of the first black receivers to act up the way that he did, get suspended, cut up like 8 times, get cut from like 5 different teams, end up in the Super Bowl and actually get a ring, dude.
Right.
I think he's the first one to get cut, shoot a music video, join another squad.
That dude's a hot mess.
And I mean, it is what it is. Crazy.
It just goes to show if you have the talent, teams are just put up with.
They'll look the other way.
Not even teams, but the league.
Hey man, like I'm trying to figure out how they kept that man sane. I mean, did he have the the little pill box where he, like, as soon as he stepped into the facility, he's like, "Hey man, take your meds, fam."
Yeah, I think Bruce Arians met him in the parking lot and was feeding him pills on his way in to calm his ass down. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they do.
Crazy.
Shout out to them, and then plus too, I think Antonio Brown knew this is truly it.
This is it, dude.
But
yeah.
Yeah, and he scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying. So. Like, shout out to Black History Month. Let's go.
All right, so let's switch over and do some team news, a little bit of NFL news. We'll get into some fan questions and we'll wrap up the show. But we'll be right back after this commercial. Yep. Hey, people, it's Eddie and Marcus here from the Average Sports Guys podcast. Are you looking for screen printed shirts or hoodies? Maybe you need embroidered polos, hats, or beanies. If so, check out our guys over at Full Color Prints LLC, located in Chantilly, Virginia.
Yeah, head over to fullcolorprintsdc.com or find them on Instagram at DMV T-Shirt Guys and support your local business.
With over 15 years of experience, there's no wonder they're still in business, and they're sure to meet your satisfaction.
The Average Sports Guys have used them, and you should too.
All right, we are back. So let's get into NFL news. So the day before the Super Bowl, which was Saturday, they had the NFL honors.
Yeah.
Man, Washington took home some hardware. Well, so let's get into it, right? So MVP, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
No surprise.
Nope.
Dude balled out. He had a great year. Offensive Player of the Year was Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Had to give it to him.
Yeah. I don't think I'll really contest that one.
Nah, grown man among.
Yeah,
men.
Yeah,
had to give it to him.
Yep. Now this next one, I have issue with.
Oof.
And that's Defensive Player of the Year, which was Aaron Donald.
Right.
Which, okay, that's fine. I mean, he's clearly is a great player, phenomenal player, but I really think they missed the boat with TJ Watt.
Right. And like we were talking about before we came back on, it's like I halfway called that a few weeks ago because this dude was like balling.
Yeah.
Always around the football. So, I mean.
What did he lead the league in every statistical category except for one? I think Aaron Donald had him beat, and I forgot exactly which one it was.
It was something dumb, but literally every statistical category, and he didn't speak out on it. It was JJ that came out and said, he's like, my brother's never going to say this, but I'm going to speak for him.
Yeah.
My brother should have been Defensive Player of the Year, and here's why.
Right. Yeah, I did glance over that tweet. Yeah, I thought they screwed up on that one big time.
For sure.
Defensive Rookie of the Year, no surprise, is Washington's own Chase Young.
Yeah, that's a grown man.
Yeah, man. Hopefully he can continue to grow.
Yeah.
You know,
I hope not.
Get better. Well, yeah.
Nah, man, I need you to stop lifting. Just cut it out.
Yep. So yeah, so Chase Young takes home that one. So Offensive Rookie of the Year was Justin Herbert.
Yep.
That was a good pick too.
It was a good pick. We said that, 2 weeks ago it would have been Justin Jefferson, but it's like it's hard to argue those 30 touchdowns, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I said, I largely didn't have an issue with that. Well, really, I didn't have an issue with that one at all.
No.
Like I said, the biggest one that stuck out to me was just the Defensive Player of the Year.
Right.
I just absolutely did not agree with that one. Comeback Player of the Year, no surprise.
Alex Smith, how could you not give it to him? They would have burned down the whole show if he didn't get it.
Yeah, so I guess there was, so for the votes, I think, he got 42 and then Ben Roethlisberger got 1.
Who's the one?
That's what everybody was saying.
Who's that guy?
They were like, point him out.
Who's that? Who's that spiteful jerk?
Yeah, and so I was reading a bunch of tweets and stuff from Steelers Twitter, if you will, and they were like, pretty much, I don't give a damn what Alex went through. Ben had the elbow injury, and
it's not your leg that was about to fall off, and you could have died, fam.
Right. I was like,
what?
Wait, 17 surgeries,
infections.
He almost lost his life, then almost lost his leg, and then they said he would never play, myself included. Was like, there's no way, and then he made it possible. So sit down with the Ben Roethlisberger crap in his little dumbass elbow at the end of his career.
And not only that, he doesn't have to wear 8 compression socks on top of a brace to even be able to walk.
No, if Ben Roethlisberger wore a short sleeve shirt, everything's fine. Alex Smith literally looks like a great white shark attacked his leg.
Essentially, yeah.
So it's like, simmer down.
Relax.
Yeah. So he wins that one. Walter Payton Man of the Year award goes to Russell Wilson.
Russ.
And Coach of the Year goes to Kevin Stefanski out of Cleveland.
You have to give it to him because the Browns have been a dumpster fire for how many years?
Ever.
So it's like anytime they have a winning season and they actually look somewhat like a threat, and they actually look like a legitimate threat right now.
Right.
How could you not give them that award? So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I didn't have any issues with that. And then the Assistant Coach of the Year goes to the Bills' offensive coordinator, Brian Daboll.
You have to. I mean, with the acquisition of,
I thought he called a great season.
The acquisition of Stephon Diggs, which obviously opened up the back end of most defenses. Singletary getting loose, and then Josh Allen, dude.
Yeah,
it was like a switch flipped where this kid was just lighting things up, and then naturally you forget about his running ability, his ability to scramble and create plays off script. So, shout out to Daboll, man. He earned it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely not taking anything away from that. So NFL news, man, it's just more trade rumors. Obviously, all the talking heads on the national networks are starting to put their little mock drafts together. This player's going here and there, and then, like I said, all the quarterback drama. Russell Wilson got thrown into the QB trade mix. Did you hear his comments? Pretty much, basically, I think it started with his representation, whether it's his agent or somebody, who's pretty much just saying Seattle needs to, build that offensive line because Russ is just taking too many hits. And I guess Russ talked to the media, and he pretty much acknowledged, I'm
tired of getting hit.
I've been getting hit too much. Yeah. And then I saw something on ESPN before we started recording. And something to the effect of Russell Wilson was like, yeah, I'm sure they've gotten calls. I don't know if I'm available for trade, but that's a Seahawks question.
Oh, for sure.
So
I'd be frustrated too, man.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, like literally I'm doing like him and Pat Mahomes, like they just, it gets to the point where you're just like, hey man, fix this so I can continue to play before I retire earlier than I want to because I love the game of football.
Mm-hmm. Or force my way off of your team.
Or exactly, because I'm not taking another snap because you chose to not fix this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what comes of it. My guess is nothing. I think they'll figure something out.
Next 4 picks.
Yeah. Yeah, you know.
That's Russell Wilson fam. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take him. I mean, Washington still needs a quarterback. And then obviously there's the news about Carson Wentz and those trade rumors. I don't know if you just want to hold that off for Eagles news and updates.
I'll hold that off for Eagles news and updates, but I would be remiss if we did not talk about the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2021.
Oh, let's get into it, man.
So we had Calvin Johnson, who, like Megatron, who wanted to, win so bad and was just that security blanket for Matt Stafford for so long, and you couldn't guard this man, and he was just that much of a problem. Yeah, watching him play. Young receivers, coming up, watch his tape. There's Tom Flores, Alan Fancia, John Lynch, Peyton Manning. You knew he was getting in. That's Peyton Manning. Yeah. Drew Pearson, Charles Woodson. About doggone. I mean, it's Charles Woodson, dude. Like, this dude was a pick specialist. Right. That's just what he did with the Raiders. Like, you throw it his way, it's going the other way. It was just a legit Hall of Fame class. There's reasons why these guys got in. For me, it was Calvin Johnson. Yeah. And watching how emotional he got, after finally getting in, because I mean, that many years of losing with the Lions. Yeah. And then not really doing much, and then the ownership's like, nah, man, we ain't letting you go nowhere. And we're gonna keep these rights till the end of time type thing. So but yeah, shout out to him. It was a good go.
Yeah, for sure. I know everybody keeps trying to compare DK to Megatron.
There's only one Megatron fan. Right. This man got a whole name of a transformer. Like, there's nothing you can do. Right. DK might, like, I guess muscle tone maybe, but as far as hands and route running and his ability just to dominate the game, there's very few receivers that there was literally nothing you could do. The ball goes up, he's coming down with it. And one of those receivers is Calvin Johnson. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and plus just remembering the mega. So I think like life is set up now for recency effect, right?
Recency bias.
It's like, what have you done for me lately? Right. And it's like, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years plus removed from the game. It's like you almost forget. Right. And until somebody says some stupid shit like that, like, oh, DK could be the next Megatron, but to me, Megatron, he just was so fluid. Right.
For sure.
And he just, he had it all. He had the size, he had the hands, he had speed, he could get up, he could body you out of position.
For sure.
So, yeah.
Just don't say anything dumb like that, because you'll definitely get laughed out the barbershop. Please don't.
Now, clearly, this was what DK's second season,
right?
So, he's got time to develop into something great. To me, I think he's good.
He's good. He's definitely good.
But he's got a ways to go.
Calvin Johnson's that's a mountain, dude.
Yeah, man. So I wonder now. Well, the COVID stuff. I wonder if they're going to do the induction ceremony like they normally do, right? And that's what. Before the Hall of Fame game, so it's in like August. Yep. So they have time. Hopefully, more and more people can get vaccinated by then. Yeah. And these numbers come down, because I always do like watching those.
For sure. The speeches,
because some of the speeches are real good, moving, touching, inspirational, like LaDainian Tomlinson. Oh yeah. Like hearing his speech, and NFL Network will still play clips of it because it's very relevant for today. Right. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. So. Like I said, news around the league. It's just the quarterback rumor mill, who's going where, who's giving up what. But what did happen, this is a blockbuster trade, man.
Yeah.
So the Lions traded Matt Stafford, not to my Washington football team, but to the Los Angeles Rams.
For a king's ransom.
Yeah, I guess. So I don't look at it like it was that bad. So it was 2 first-round picks and a third, right? So the first-round picks are 2022, 2023, and then this year's third. So I'm like, okay. Now, some can argue Stafford's on like the back 9 of his career.
Right.
You know, maybe he's got a solid 2 to 3 years left. Some say 4 or 5. All I know is they better keep him healthy. You know what I mean? Not saying giving up 2 first-round picks, you know, for a good player is nothing, but the Rams infinitely got better.
Right.
You got rid of Jared Goff. You got rid of that contract.
Right.
So he goes to Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Stafford goes to L.A. With that defense that they have, I think their offense is going to be just as good.
Right.
Now, the thing is, in Detroit, Stafford's really never had a legit run game for long periods of time. I think he's going to get that in Los Angeles. So he's not going to – everything's not just going to be on him. Right. So he's going to have help. He's going to have a good complement of receivers. I think they could use another one, like probably somebody who could stretch the field. And then, like I said, as long as that run game stays good, bro, they're going to be dangerous. They're going to be dangerous.
But this is a risky move. Like,
oh, of course.
Like, think of this. So they traded 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a third in 2016 with the Titans to get Jared Goff, right?
Yeah.
And then you're mortgaging another 3 picks to get Matt Stafford. And like you said, in the back few years of his career, if this dude gets hurt, man, so you better be doggone sure that offensive line is tight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but if he can stay healthy, it's totally worth it because he is going to dismantle squads next year. You're giving him a full complement of receivers because he's always used to having like 1, 2, and then like an okay running back,
right?
With a semi okay line, but now he has a decent line, a whole stable of wide receivers and Akers at running back. That man's a problem.
Yeah.
So and then a brilliant offensive mind in
Sean
McVay. So it's like they're in win now mode. Period. Your defense is stout. You're there. You just needed a quarterback, and I get it. It's better to be ahead of the game when it comes to trades, moves, you know, making your team better than behind the 8 ball. And obviously they felt like they hit a ceiling with Jared Goff, and they had to move on from him. Is it going to be worth it? I mean, time will tell. But overall, for right now, for what they could be, I can't say I hate the move, but I'm definitely cautious moving into next season. They better put bubble wrap on this man going out into the field.
Yeah, I mean, I think anything's a risk, right?
Right.
You know, I can't fault them because I wouldn't have been mad if Washington did it, right?
Right.
You know, some will argue, oh, you got to save your draft picks. You got to do this. You got to do that. There's no guarantee.
Yeah.
You know, there's no guarantee a la RG3.
Right.
We traded, talk about King's ransom. We mortgaged our future for that guy. It got him hurt. Well, he got himself hurt, but you get my point. Like,
yeah, I understand.
Did not pan out. And then he was gone, and we rolled with Kirk Cousins for a couple seasons, who we had gotten in the later rounds. So it's like
Kirk on Kirk.
Yeah, but then you look at, say, like a Dak Prescott. He wasn't drafted in the first round.
4th.
He developed and became a good player. So people put a lot of stock in these first-round draft picks, rightfully so, right? I'm not taking any of that away. But to just simply act like your first-round pick was about to get you to the promised land, it probably wasn't.
Nah, there's a reason you're picking in the top 10.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And so it's like, let's just say for the sake of argument, it comes down to trading away 3 firsts for Watson. So 3 firsts and, I don't know, like a third or something.
Right.
I'm doing it.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
he's a proven player.
Right.
He's still young, clearly. So that's the added incentive.
Right.
But you got to think, we we should have won more games than 7. Right. So, but I'm not going to argue wins losses. We won the division. One of the top defenses in the league. We have some decent offensive pieces. You definitely need a quarterback, and you go out and get yourself a tight end and like a wide receiver, something like that. And now you become a more complete team just that fast. Now you're a legitimate contender. So those picks are worth it. You want to know why? Because those picks that you're giving away for the next couple seasons, Houston, they're gonna be late round picks,
right? Because you're higher on the, you're lower on the draft board because you're winning now,
right? And that's my point. So it's not everybody's like, oh, you're just giving away first round draft picks and this and that, and I'm just like,
if you're legit, if you're legit one piece away, like a quarterback, it's not gonna mean much because you're getting the top, essentially the top of the bottom half of talent. Right. Coming out of college. So it's like, I mean, is that one player really going to be that much of have that much of an effect on your team? Maybe, but more than likely not, because your team is already set. So
right. Yeah, I mean, for sure. And again, it's all about philosophy, right?
I'll give you that.
Every team values certain things differently. I mean, look at the damn Patriots. They seem like they trade away shit all the time.
Right.
And you know, look at the success that they've had.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's what the trade was. So
what the trade was. And
Stafford goes to L.A.
And before you L.A. fans jump down my throat, I mean, I was being facetious earlier. I mean, if there's a quarterback that can be the embodiment of toughness, we know it's Matt Stafford. Like, this dude's had back surgery, still wanted to play, like busted his arm and still went out and completing passes. Like, he's a tough dude. But my point mainly was, you know, everybody has a breaking point. So
yeah. Yep, for sure.
There we go.
So we'll be following leading up to free agency in March.
Let's go.
Where players are going to go and what's going to happen, and then obviously draft stuff. So starting next week, Marcus and I, we're going to identify. So we're going to write down all 32 teams. Marcus and I are each going to figure out, or just kind of give our opinion on what each particular team is position of needs are.
Yep. And
we're going to talk about them. And then if there's any, you know, prospects, draft prospects that, you know, kind of jump out at us that would fit, you know, with that particular team, then we'll say it. Now, whether it becomes a reality or not, I doubt it. Usually it doesn't. And then we'll play Draft Gurus coming up in early April leading up to the draft.
Facts.
We will give our mock drafts like we did last year. That was kind of fun. It is what it is.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure.
So we'll do some of those things, and then each week Marcus and I will pick a couple teams off of that 32 team list.
For sure.
Identify their needs, talk about it, figure out how they can get better. And again, you know, we'll give our opinions on that.
Right.
So before we end the show, let's get into team news. Marcus, you can start with your Eagles and tell us what's going on in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I got a few things. So, news coming out of Philly. Obviously, you know, the biggest thing is the huge Wentz trade market. At this point, it's cooled off a little bit because apparently after the Matt Stafford trade, they want what I keep calling the King's ransom. They want 2 firsts and
for Wentz
and a third for Wentz. It's nuts.
Right.
But rumors out there and reports out there are saying that, you know, the Bears offered a first rounder, which was the 20th pick, and then Tyreek Cohen or Nick Foles or something like that or whatever. I would have took that and ran with it because if you trade Wentz and then you have the 6th and the 20th, I mean, you could definitely come up off that, especially with the needs that we need at, like, you could have gotten Jamar Chase at 6 and then picked up a linebacker at 20. But I mean, it is what it is. There's that. And then also another factor as to Wentz wanting to leave was his relationship with Howie Roseman. He's been in contact with Sirianni. He's been in contact with various coaches, various front office staff members, the owner. It's just that he has a bad taste in his mouth for Howie Roseman, and in my opinion, rightfully so, because this guy sucks at drafting, especially offensive receiver talent. So with that being said, hopefully we can move him soon before his trade stock drops even more. But just getting into more
Which is why you better hope Russell Wilson trade stuff doesn't heat up and become reality, because
it's over at that point.
Yeah, I would say you're going to get a bag of chips and a Capri Sun for Carson Wentz.
Basically. And I'm just going to quickly run through some more coaching hires. So Nick Sirianni, obviously, was our head coach. Shane Steichen was the LA Chargers offensive coordinator in 2020. We got him. Brian Johnson, he's our quarterbacks coach now, came from Florida. Jamal Singleton, he was the running backs coach for the Bengals and the Colts. Aaron Moorhead, he's staying. He's been there. Hopefully they can get these receivers right. He's the wide receivers coach. So Jason Michael, tight ends coach. He worked with guys like Jack Doyle. He coached him to his Pro Bowl season. So that's actually a pretty legit hire because our tight ends definitely need to step up. Jeff Stoutland staying. Kevin Patullo. This dude is the wide receivers coach from Indianapolis. He's our passing game coordinator now. Jonathan Gannon, defensive coordinator. He was under McDaniels for a while. He attended college at Ohio State. He was there for 3 years. Dude's a problem. Tracy Rocker, defensive line coach. Who was on the Tennessee Titans staff in 2012, 2013. He was a stud defensive tackle himself. Denard Wilson, defensive backs coach, came from he has history with the Bears, Washington football team. He played safety at Maryland for a while. He was a passing game coordinator and D-backs coach for the Jets last year. And our assistant defensive backs coach is Jay Valai. And last but not least, Michael Clay, special teams coordinator, and he was the assistant special teams coach for the Niners last year. So it's definitely a changing of the guard, and I'm interested to see what actually happens. Now, the last thing I'm going to say about my Eagles, so there have been players that have come out from, and people coming out from the Colts organization, addressing the concerns about Sirianni and his leadership ability based on that first press conference. They're saying it's all nerves. He talks like that from time to time because he gets, and this is I'm legit saying this is exactly what came out. Like, he talks like that from time to time, but you cannot, based on that press conference, please don't question his leadership, because there's a reason why he's part of the reason why they've been winning out there in Indianapolis. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we'll see if he's leader of men. I like some of the changes that we've had, and we'll see what happens going forward.
Okay, cool. Before we get into the Washington football news, so Mario did have a question for you. Mario from the Zoned In podcast.
Yeah.
So he says, Todd McShay of ESPN has the Eagles selecting Jamar Chase in the first round. Now, his question is that their biggest need, or should they try to fill it elsewhere? I'm going to give you my opinion because that's what I do, but I'm going to let you answer that first.
So as an Eagles fan, absolutely. There's just certain guys that are home runs, and you just you can't whiff. We've whiffed on receivers for the past how many years?
Quite a few.
I'd say about a decade. So, or pretty close to it. Our last legit receiver was Jeremy Maclin, that I can honestly remember, that we drafted. I don't even think we drafted him. I think we pulled him from somewhere. So it's not even like we drafted him. So we've been terrible for a while. So, we're just bad at drafting receivers. We drafted Deshaun Jackson. He was cool, but until he started getting hurt. So, back to my main point. Jamar Chase, have to take him. We need a deep threat. We need a guy who can be a stable number one, who is literally as advertised coming out of college. So I would definitely draft him at number 6.
Okay. No. Me from the outside looking in, right? I can see you guys filling that linebacker spot.
Parsons.
Yeah. I could see maybe a D end.
Nah.
Yeah, I
like Sweat.
It's hard to say that Jamar Chase is going to change your franchise. You know what I mean?
He's not going to change, but he damn sure is going to help.
I feel
he needs to open the box for Miles Sanders. That's what we need.
Yeah, well, and then so to me, you almost look at it like you hope they get Wentz out of there.
Yeah.
And
recoup something.
And let old boy play. Jalen Hurts, and hope he can, continue to develop to be able to get the ball to these guys.
Right.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it. I mean, well, obviously being a divisional opponent, yeah, I mean, it's just somebody who's potentially going to be great that you're going to have to worry about twice a year for a long time. But yeah, I don't know. Just seeing how and to touch back on the Super Bowl, right? There's people who love to say like these high-powered offenses win and this and that. That Tampa Bay defense put on a show. And
shout out to Todd Bowles.
Me watching that game and watching what White did, it really just solidified how much like Washington needs to shore up that linebacker position.
Yeah.
So and then in your case is like your guys' linebackers are suspect.
Trash.
So that's where I was thinking. But I mean, I wouldn't be mad at a Jamar Chase. Like if I was sitting at pick 6 and he was available and I took him. So again, another question. Who do you cut? Who do you waive to make cap space? Because y'all are in cap hell.
Ooh. Who do we cut? Can we throw trade in there?
Well, yeah, cut, waive, trade, whatever. However, you're going to free up the books.
For me, you have to move on from Zach Ertz at this point.
Yes.
You have to really start looking at where it's okay to get younger. As in your offensive line, because we're starting to get old. Mm-hmm. Jason Peters. You also need to look at your secondary, and there's guys that you might want to move on from, even though they've
You're really supporting my argument for not taking Jamar Chase at number 6. You just identified
I know
all those spots.
But it's like, I mean, you got McLeod that's coming back off an injury. You have Jalen Mills. Those are guys you can work. But I mean, there's always restructuring. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, one thing you can give Howie Roseman credit for is his ability to restructure contracts and free agency. He just really sucks at drafting. They just need to put him in on an island somewhere and just get that man a TV and let him watch the draft and not do nothing.
Right.
And let the real football aficionados and draft scouts, make them calls. Cause I can't tell you how many times where I'm just sitting there disappointed and looking at the screen and thinking, okay, we good. Okay, Andre Dillard, we straight. We just really need to move on from, his ability to evaluate talent and just let the experts do it and trust your scouts. So,
yeah, I feel you. All right, so let me get into this Washington football news. Should Washington football team bring Cam Newton in as a backup or like a veteran starter? Hell no. No.
Hey man,
I'm good on Cam. Like I've been saying before, like Ron Rivera's been our coach, announced as our head coach since December.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Cam Newton was a free agent forever before New England picked him up. Like if Ron Rivera wanted him, I feel like he would have went and got him. Even if he said, well, I'll let him get picked up somewhere else and see how he plays, because nobody's going to sign him for more than 1 year. So I'm going to see how he plays, and then I'm going to bring him in, if he's a free agent and he's still good. Cam's arm was a dud. You know what I mean? Like his legs were good. Like he was still able to run, but watching him throw, and I've always hated his throwing motion anyway, but it just looks worse. So to that question, no. I would love to keep Cam away from the Washington football team. I think they're going to go another route. I'd almost rather keep Alex Smith, to be honest with you.
You sure you don't want to run it back like one time?
No, I'm good. Nope. Nope. Other news, Taylor Heineke signs a 2-year extension worth $8.75 million.
Oh, that's
so
dope.
I think he'll be a good backup, but that kind of money with a 2-year deal tells me Ron Rivera is serious about letting him truly compete.
Oh, for sure.
to be a starter. That also tells me I don't think they're going to trade way up to try to get a quarterback in the draft. I think if somebody lands there that they like, they'll take him.
He earned it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think the 4.5 quarters that he played, because he came in
something special.
Yeah, because he came in against Carolina the last 9 minutes of the game. I thought he played well, and then he came in. Obviously, started the postseason game against Tampa Bay. Now, there's people are saying like Washington is the only team that played Tampa Bay. Like they played them the toughest out of the Saints, the Packers, and who the hell else did they beat?
Saints, Packers. Oh God.
And then us, and then the Super Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. So the Saints and the Packers, I was like, kill that noise. Like, we still lost, you know what I mean? But Jennifer King, she makes history, right? I really love what the NFL is trending towards, like how the NFL is trending with female coaches.
Oh, for sure.
So she becomes the first Black woman to have a full-time coaching position in the NFL. So she's assistant. Offensive assistant coach, so that's good. Now, I really love what Bruce Arians is doing down there with all his coordinators are like Black. He's got females all over his staff. I think that's awesome, man.
That's dope.
And then they win the Super Bowl, so that shows you women can do it and people of color can do it.
That's right.
So I like the way it's trending. I love what Ron Rivera is doing here in Washington. Shout out to Jennifer King. It's well deserved. If you know anything about her, you follow like her story, anything like she puts in the work. She busts her behind.
Oh, for sure.
And it's paying off. It's awesome that Ron Rivera sees that. How could you not? So that's good. Now, Drew Terrell was promoted to wide receivers coach, and Jim Hostler was promoted to senior offensive assistant. I believe he was a wide receivers coach last year, or like last season. So those are a couple little moves there.
Facts.
But that's it. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty quiet. Like I said, several teams have inquired about Carson Wentz, so Washington was not one. So
yeah, I mean, hopefully they make that move before the well dries up, because I mean, honestly, I'm getting to the point where you like Howie. Yeah, you made moves because you were pissed off and you know got us to a Super Bowl with some of the roster moves you brought in. But at the same time, that's over now, dude. I mean, you got tickets to sell. You got a fan base to literally appease and to, you know, get us excited about the next season. And right now we're kind of not. We got a stuttering head coach. Not to knock anybody that stutters, but it's one of those things where, you know, first impressions do have, you know,
lasting effects.
So you gotta tighten it up. Philly's gotta tighten it up. They gotta figure out the quarterback situation. Even if you gotta trade Wentz for a ham sandwich and you know, in a Sprite, we got to get something going.
Anybody giving a Sprite, you get a juice box.
You get an RC Cola. But but for Philly's got to figure it out. Last but not least, I would like to dedicate this episode to my grandmother. She passed away. What was it, last week? 86 years old. Matriarch of our family. Taught us a lot. You know, I wouldn't be where I am today without her. So her homegoing service is Saturday. I'll be there, but you know, that's Addie Mae Foster. You know, rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace for sure, man. Yeah, it was rough when you sent me that text.
For sure.
We've definitely been praying for you and keep you guys in our prayers.
Appreciate it.
I always say it, and I'm gonna say it on the show. If there's anything you need, you let me know. I know a lot of people say that and they don't mean it.
Nah.
But I truly mean it, man.
For sure. Thank you.
I truly mean it. So this has been episode 59. This is Eddie and Marcus is the Average Sports Guys. It's the Average Sports Guys podcast. Be sure to head over to our website, averagesportsguys.com. Be sure to check us out anywhere you get your podcasts. Social medias, man. We're back on YouTube.
Let's go.
Like, share, subscribe. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything.
Everything.
We're out of here, man. We'll see y'all next week.
Yeah.